we were discussing on the effects of concentration of component polymers in the blend on their properties. So, we are talking about additive behavior, synergistic behavior and incompatible behavior due to incompatibility of the blends. Now, this can be viewed in other way. If you look at the diagram, it shows 4 different cases. One case is miscible, second case is semi-compatible, third case is incompatible and fourth case is synergistic. The previous figure which I showed, that previous figure are broken into 4 different curves. So, these completely explains the effects of concentration of polymer components in a on the properties of the polymer blends. In case of complete miscibility, properties are more or less proportional to the contents of the 2 polymer components in the blend. Here you see these properties are proportional to the the properties of the components in the blend. Here the commodity polymers can be this kind of feature is found in case of commodity polymers, which are blended in different proportions to meet the specific requirements of each product to be manufactured. Now, the example of such additive effect of miscible components are say noryl. Noryl is a mixture of polystyrene, which is a commodity polymer as well as a cheap polymer. With this polystyrene, cheap polystyrene polymer, polyphenylene oxide which is relatively expensive polymer, these two are blended. Now, polyphenylene oxide is a polar polymer as well as it contains aromatic ring on the backbone chain, phenyl ring on the backbone chain, and polystyrene is a purely hydrocarbon polymer in which the backbone chain is made of carbon and the phenyl ring is present as pendant group as a substituent of one of the hydrogens of alternate carbon atoms. It has been found that the properties of noryl are additive of the properties of the component polymers polystyrene and polyphenylene oxide PPO. Noryl has poor thermal stability than either of the polyether. The polyphenylene oxide, this is a polyether polymer, but it is easier to process. It shows this polyphenylene oxide is a thermally stable polymer. Polystyrene its thermal stability is lower than that of polyphenylene oxide. In order to increase the processability, this polystyrene has been blended with polyphenylene oxide with a compromise of thermal stability of polyphenylene oxide, but processability was improved. So, not only the final performance property, but the processing property is also important. If a polymer, although it is having very high performance properties like high mechanical strength, high thermal stability, etc., but if that polymer could not be processed, that is of no use. So, in order to make it processable or in order to reduce its viscosity during processing at lower temperature, so such type of components like polystyrene can be blended to have a blend with more or less improved properties with due to some additive effect. So, here thermal property is reduced, but the processability is improved. Now, it has been found that on blending of these two components, the glass transition temperature Tg of the blend is only 1, although there are two components it is can be expected that if we take two component polymers, say polymer 1 and polymer 2, they can have different TGs, TG1 and TG2. But if these two polymers are compatible on blending, they will form a polymer product, polymer blend PB, which will have only a single TG that can lie in between this TG1 and TG2. This having only one TG of the polymer blend, although polymers of two different TGs were used, this gives a good indication of miscibility of the components in the blend. That happens due to the additive effect. So, here the single TG increases with increasing polyether content. Since the TG2 of the polyether is polyphenylene oxide is higher than the TG1 of polystyrene. So, on increasing the polyether in the component in the blend, the final TG of the resultant polymer blend increases with the increase of polyether content. Now, in terms of tensile strength, however, the polyblend is synergistic. Now, in this case, although this TG increases this way, the tensile strength gives quite improved property at some particular composition, as I have explained earlier what do we mean by synergistic effect. Now, let us look into what is optimum requirements of complete miscibility. Since this miscibility is an important criteria to be developed in case of a polymer blend. So, we must also examine what are the optimum requirements. Now, a component polymers must have similar polarity, identical polarity means they must have identical solubility parameter or very close solubility parameter of the component polymers. Then the component polymers should be of low molecular weight, they should not be very high molecular weight. If the molecular weight is high, then the solubility and miscibility of the component polymers in the blend will be reduced. Then there could be hydrogen bonding, which is one of the requirements. If there is hydrogen bonding, the secondary interaction between the component polymers, again that is very good for obtaining miscibility. Other than hydrogen bonding, other strong interactions may be like say other intermolecular interactions, say polar-polar interaction or dipolar interaction or van der Waals interaction, that is also another requirement. So, most polymer pairs may not meet these requirements for complete theoretical miscibility. Having positive free energy of mixing, they tend to separate into two phases. So, this aspect should be kept in mind. Since two component polymers cannot meet the complete theoretical requirement of miscibility, so we have to look into their free energy mixing. If the free energy mixing is positive, the component polymers will tend to separate into two different phases. Let us proceed towards this other aspect, the semi compatible part of the miscibility part of the curve in order to explain the immiscibility. Now, effects of slight immiscibility or semi compatibility, in this case each phase will be a solid solution of minor polymer in major polymer. Slight miscibility, the slight miscibility or semi compatibility can be explained if there is it is seen that each phase becomes a solid solution of minor polymer in the major polymer. Now, the phases separate into submicroscopic domains with the major polymer as continuous phase with major contribution to properties. It may resemble that kind of resemble a field polymer system, where the filler particles may remain dispersed in a continuous matrix. Here the major continuous phase of the major polymer, there can there may be submicroscopic domains of the smaller component, and in this case this continuous phase provides major contribution to the properties. The plot of properties versus composition in this case is a S-shaped curve, as you see from the curve is a S-shaped curve showing an intermediate transition region. Here this transition region with a phase reversion, phase inversion from one continuous phase to the other phase. That means the dispersed phase would become the continuous phase and the continuous phase would become the dispersed phase. So, this kind of phase inversion is found to occur in case of the semi-compatible blend. Now, most commercial polyblends are of this type with the major polymer as continuous phase retaining most of its properties, and minor polymers forms the small discrete domains contributing synergistically to certain specific properties. So, the major polymer contribute the major properties, and the dispersed phase polymer dispersed domains of the discrete polymer that contributes to the synergistic aspect of the synergistic effect on some specific properties, special properties. Now, in case of incompatibility, the third component of the curve incompatibility, here the less miscibility, in case of less miscible phase separation from larger domains with weaker interfacial bonding between them. So, here the domains larger domains now there can be domains dispersed domains in a continuous matrix. Now, if there is some lack of interface bonding, interface interaction between the domains and the matrix phase, then we regard this as less blend having less miscibility. Now, this happens due to the weak interaction at the interface, and if there is weak interaction at the interface or the interface is weak, then under stress the polyblend this stress will be concentrated at those interfaces and the polyblend will show poorer properties. That means, the mechanical properties will be inferior and the product will fail at the interface at the weak interface site and show poorer properties for either of the polymers in the blend. Next, this U-shaped curve property curves thus provide a strong indication of immiscibility. This U-shaped curve gives a strong indication of immiscibility or incompatibility between the component polymers. They show practical incompatibility and lack of practical utility. Now, in case of synergistic behavior, here you see the synergistic behavior, this shows improvement of properties beyond that expected from simple additive effect. So, if you combine these two properties of individual polymers, so that is the additive effect. So, this due to their good visibility and due to the effect of the dispersed phase, good interfacial interaction between the dispersed phase and the matrix phase, there can be some synergistic effect or improvement in or increase in properties at some intermediate composition. The synergism may result from dipole-dipole attraction between the polymer components. Now, examples of synergistic behavior, typical examples of the polymer blends, we can discuss with the blend of LDP, low density polyethylene with EPDM. Now, this can be a good pair of component polymers for making a successful blend. Now, LDP contains ethylene unit and EPDM contains ethylene unit and propylene unit. So, it is supposed to form good interaction between this polyethylene will provide good interaction between this ethylene unit of the copolymer ethylene propylene, and since propylene unit is also one hydrocarbon. So, ethylene segments or ethylene units of the LDP will also have good interaction with this polypropylene. So, this kind of blend E and ethylene propylene copolymer blend gives a good synergistic effect, and in this case the synergism will be further increased if this EPDM part is partially crystalline. Now, polyethylene is crystalline. Now, ethylene propylene is amorphous, that is why it is rubber. Now, if some crystallinity could be developed in this ethylene propylene domain, so it will provide further synergistic effect. Now, if that crystallinity could not be developed, if it remains as amorphous, in this case amorphous, so this amorphous EPDM will show a non-synergistic effect. So, in order to obtain synergistic effect of this polyethylene LDP and EPDM blends, one of the requirement is that the EPDM component must be partially crystalline. This shows this partial crystallinity in EPDM shows a dramatic effect of morphology on properties of polymer blends. So, the synergism arises from a tendency of LDP to crystallize and to nucleate crystallization of ethylene segments in EPDM. This is a very good interesting observation that since LDP is crystalline, that LDP crystallite will induce or nucleate some crystallization in the ethylene segments of the EPDM polymer. That is why the synergistic effect is available. Now, the properties of miscible poly blends can also be explained in other way. Now, these physical properties of poly blends can be semi empirically governed by this equation P is equal to P is the overall property of the blend, that is equal to P1 phi 1, that means P1 is the property of this component 1 polymer, P2 is the property of component 2 polymer, phi 1 and phi 2 are the volume fraction of the two polymers, and this is phi 1 by phi 2, okay, I phi 1 over phi 2. Now, plus I into phi 1 into phi 2, phi 1 into phi 2, where P is polyvalent property, phi is concentration and I is interaction term. Okay. So, this interaction term can be positive or negative or 0. Now, if this I is 0, this term becomes 0, and in that case rule of mixture, that means additive rule, additive effect applies. In case of the value of I as positive, in that case P would be greater than the weighted average of the constituent polymers, and that shows a synergistic effect. So, in case of positive value of I, one can get the synergistic effect on the properties of the polyblend. If the value of I is negative, that means less than the simple average value of the properties of the two components, it shows anti-synergistic behavior. In case of immiscible polyblend, if there are two phases, this phase 1 which is continuous phase, phase 2 dispersed phase, but these two phases are immiscible. There a semi empirical relationship can be used for explaining the properties of immiscible polyblend, that is P by P 1 is equal to 1 plus A B phi 2 divided by 1 minus B psi phi 2, where phi 2 is the concentration of dispersed phase component and A varies between 0 and infinity depending on the shape and orientation of the dispersed phase and nature of interface, and B depends on the relative values of properties say P 1 and P 2 of the component polymers, and A on A P 1 P 2 on A, and psi is a reduced concentration, that is a function of the maximum packing fraction. For A tending towards value of A tending towards 0, the dispersed phase is soft. For A tending towards infinity, the dispersed phase is hard. So, the value of A and the value of B and the concentration of the component polymers that judge or that determine the overall property of P of the polymer blend. Now, let us look into the compatibilization of polymers, component polymers to make a polymer blend. Now, incompatible polymer blends are weak, we know. The reason behind this is that there can be high interfacial tension between the component polymers, and at the interface poor adhesion is found between the two phases. Now, blending of polymers that become unsuccessful due to the incompatibility of component polymers, new successful polymer blend preparation became possible by the use of compatibilizing agents. This approach yielded unique properties in polymer blends not attainable from either of the component polymers of the blend. Their performance depends on the size and morphology of the dispersed phase. Now, there are various ways of compatibilization. Let us discuss on such compatibilization. Say, in case of biodegradable polymer, people tried to develop biodegradable polymer from polyethylene. As such, polyethylene is a non-biodegradable polymer. In order to make this polyethylene biodegradable, people blended starch with this polyethylene, but starch is a naturally occurring polysaccharide which was blended with polyethylene, but the starch is a polar polymer and polyethylene is a non-polar polymer. The compatibility of these two polymers are almost negligible. These two components are immiscible, incompatible in the blend. In order to improve their compatibility, people used malic anhydride grafted polyethylene as the malic anhydride grafted polyethylene as the compatibilizer for polyethylene and starch. Say 5 to 10 parts or 12 parts of this malic anhydride grafted P with certain proportion of polyethylene and starch could lead to a semi compatible polyblend of starch and polyethylene. While polyethylene and starch as such are immiscible, but use of 5 to 10 parts by weight of this maleic anhydride grafted P improved their miscibility, because this maleic anhydride part, this is a polar part that helps in interface addition between the polyethylene and starch and leads to forming semi compatible polyblend. Now, in case of these polymers as mutual solvent, other ways of this compatibilization is some polymers can be used as a mutual solvent between the component polymers, and in this case these polymers as mutual solvents are used as compatibilizing agent. For example, this polycaprolactone, this is a polyester, biodegradable polyester. This polycaprolactone, when it is blended with polycarbonate and polystyrene coacrylonitrile, such type of compatibilization can be available. Polycarbonate and polystyrene coacrylonitrile, their compatibility can be improved by the use of polycaprolactone. Now, here this polycaprolactone acts as solvent in the miscibility of these components polycarbonate and polystyrene coacrylonitrile. Other example of such polymers acting as compatibilizer are say EPDM, ethylene propylene diene polymer, which is a rubber. When maleic anhydride is grafted on EPDM, that can be easily blended with nylon 6,6 polymer, and this happens due to the grafting of maleic anhydride on EPDM. Otherwise, EPDM is a hydrocarbon polymer, nylon 6 is a polar polymer, they are not supposed to be miscible with each other, but when this maleic anhydride is grafted on EPDM, this maleic anhydride part in this EPDM grafted chain in the EPDM acts as the compatibilizer. So, here we can say this EPDM has been functionalized in such a way by grafting maleic anhydride, so that it becomes miscible with nylon 6,6. Before such functionalization, EPDM was not miscible with nylon 6,6. So, the interface addition, interface bonding of these two component polymers EPDM and nylon 6,6 could be improved by grafting maleic anhydride on EPDM. Now, if we look into the scheme of such grafting reaction between EPDM and maleic anhydride, that is with the grafted maleic anhydride, this is grafted maleic anhydride part grafted on EPDM, that reacts with the terminal NH2 group of the nylon. Now, nylon contains this terminal NH2 group. So, this anhydride group, this acts like acid, this acts like amine group acts like base. So, it is a kind of acid base reaction and some condensation occurs and forming this polyamide bond, CONH amide bond with the end of this nylon chain, and this is the EPDM chain, and leaving behind one free carboxyl group. So, you can say this is a kind of reactive compatibilization, and many people have tried with different systems and they have found that such reactive compatibilization or such kind of compatibilization through reactive blending gives excellent results of compatibility and improvement in properties of the polyblend. So, this is the EPDM chain to which maleic anhydride was grafted, and this amine group of the nylon chain, this side contains the rest of the nylon molecule part, residual part of the molecule, nylon molecule. So, here through such amide linkage, this is a permanent covalent linkage. So, this kind of system is compatibilized. So, nylon 6,6 becomes compatibilized with EPDM through such maleic anhydride grafting. Now, if we take this block or graft copolymers, this is another way of compatibilization. We can take copolymers graft copolymer or block copolymer for compatibilization of two component polymers. Here the presence of either of these graft copolymer or block copolymer can reduce the interfacial tension between the component polymers, and that prevents the gross segregation of the component polymers and promotes adhesion between them. The effective concentration of such block or graft copolymers may range from very low amounts, say 0.1% to 5%. So, the presence of this block or graft copolymer produces a miraculous effect in compatibilization of the component polymers in a blend. Let us look into some specific examples. Say for example, these component polymers to be blended may be designated as polymer A, poly A to be blended with poly B. For compatibilizing these two polymers, poly A with poly B, we have to choose a polymeric compatibilizer of this form, poly A block B. Means you can have a polymer having block of A monomer followed by block of B monomer. Like this, A block, B block, and the base component polymer is made of A monomer, and this other component polymer is polymer contains B monomer. So, the component polymers are made of A and B monomers, and these two may not be compatible, but if the same monomers could be used to form a block copolymer, that block copolymer comes in between this A and B, here in between this A and B. So, B part will just B part of this block copolymer will orient towards the B component, and A part will orient towards the A component, and that leads to a miscibility between the polymer A with polymer B. Alternatively, one can use a poly C block D or poly C block grafted G, not block, grafted G. So, you can one can take a block copolymer of C and D, or one can take a graft copolymer of C and D, where C and D are compatible with A and B. C and D are compatible with A and B respectively, but are not miscible with them. So, C and D are compatible with A and B respectively, where C and D adhere to A and B respectively, but are not miscible with them. So, that can remain adhered, but they are not miscible, but if this kind of technique can help compatibilization of the polymer A and B, or polymers of A and B. Let us take the example of EPDM. PMMA blends. Now, this EPDM contains, say, these units like this. Ethylene unit, propylene unit, and some diene unit along with this. So, this is EPDM. Diene can be ethylene norbornene, 1,4-hexadiene, so and so. So, this EPDM is a polar polymer, and PMMA is a non-polar, this is a polar polymer, and this is non-polar polymer. Now, this is EPDM is not supposed to be compatible with this PMMA, but that can be compatibilized if one takes EPDM, such EPDM molecule, to which, suppose this is EPDM having this kind of chemical formula, chemical structure, onto which if this kind of polymer can be grown by grafting. So, this is PMMA chain. This is possible, grafting of PMMA chain on EPDM, while EPDM and PMMA are immiscible, non-compatible, but use of small proportion of small quantity of this PMMA grafted EPDM in between these two can produce a good compatible polymer blend. So, EPDM plus this PMMA grafted EPDM can mix with PMMA. Now, this PMMA grafted EPDM will orient itself in such a way that EPDM part will orient towards the EPDM moiety, and here this towards PMMA part will orient towards PMMA moiety, and the system, entire system will become compatible. There can be other example. PP polypropylene polyethylene blend with EPM, ethylene propylene rubber. This is a purely saturated rubber without having any cross linking site. To make it cross linkable, one should use some free radical cross linker to make cross link it. This is also an elastomer, ethylene propylene copolymer, or one can take EPDM. Now, in this polypropylene and polyethylene, although both are plastics, but these two polymers contain different chemical units. Now, polyethylene is structurally symmetrical in one way, and polypropylene is also structurally symmetrical in other way. But if some polypropylene is, some quantity of polypropylene is introduced in polyethylene matrix, or the vice versa, the crystalline property, crystallinity of the either polymers will be affected. As we have found that if some propylene unit is copolymerized with ethylene to form, it will form a copolymer of ethylene and propylene, that is elastomeric, whereas polyethylene is plastic. The same effect can happen over here. That means they can lead to an incompatible blend. Now, that can be made miscible provided some compatibilizer is used. In that case, again this EPM or EPDM is a solution to develop compatibility. The reason is very similar. Either EPM or EPDM contains both ethylene and propylene units in their backbone chain. So, these polymer segments will orient in such a way, so that ethylene units will come close to the ethylene units of polyethylene, and propylene units of such ethylene, propylene, or EPDM will come closer to the propylene units of the polypropylene. So, this way they form a compatible system of polymer blend. Other example is polystyrene nylon 6 blend. Again, these are of two extreme nature. Their compatibility can be improved by adding polystyrene and with a block copolymer of polystyrene and nylon 6. Another example is polystyrene copolymer with acrylonitrile, styrene acrylonitrile copolymer. One component polymer. Another component polymer is polystyrene copolymer with butadiene. So, these two polymers as component polymers P1 and P2 that can form a very good blend if one takes blends with butadiene rubber or butadiene rubber PMMA block copolymer, block of butadiene followed by block of MMA. So, this is a block copolymer. So, such block copolymer can act as a compatibilizer between these component polymers P1 and P2. Reason is polystyrene is rigid polymer, rigid plastic with less impact strength. Acrylonitrile leads to a very strong polymer, strong and tough polymer, and their rigidity can be modified, their toughness can be modified by blending with styrene butadiene copolymer. This is an elastomer, but their miscibility is not available. In order to improve the miscibility between this styrene butadiene copolymer SBr with the styrene acrylonitrile copolymer, a block of butadiene and MMA copolymer or block copolymer of butadiene and PMMA acts as compatibilizer to increase the properties. Now, there could be some modifiers which act as compatibilizing agent. That modifier can be an interactive copolymer containing a rubbery component. Say example is acrylic based copolymers, chlorinated polyolefins, ethylene propylene diene rubber, polyethylene co-vinyl acetate, etc. Now, these polymers play a dual role, compatibilizing and toughening. So, since they increase their compatibility and along with increasing the compatibility they increase the toughness of the polymer, these polymers are used at much higher loading than pure compatibilizers. Thus, while 0.1 to 5% of the compatibilizers may be sufficient, in this case 10 to 48% of a modifier may be needed to modify the properties of such polymer blends. This shows a scheme of the preparation of a polymer blend between polycarbonate PC with polybutylene terephthalate. Polybutylene terephthalate is little flexible, whereas polycarbonate is rigid. Now, here one can use 30 to 70% of polycarbonate and PBT can be used from 20 to 60% by weight. In order to get high impact strength alloy out of polycarbonate and polybutylene terephthalate, some core cell acrylic latex can be used to improve the impact strength of these two component polymers in the blend. Now, PET polyethylene terephthalate is a polyester, PBT polybutylene terephthalate is also another polyester, and polycarbonate that contains this carbonate group in the polymer chain having some rigid phenyl rings this way. So, the presence of this unit, it makes a very good high impact property polymer, and further its impact strength can be improved by blending with PBT. Now, there can be nano blends. Now, this size of the dispersed phase particle in a blend is rarely below 0.1 millimeter. Or say 0.1 millimeter or 10 nanometer irrespective of the compactization method. Now, during extrusion processing, during extrusion in situ polymerization of monomer A in the presence of polymer B can compatibilize to form nanostructured blend. That means, such nanostructured blend can be prepared during extrusion polymerization, means when the two component polymers are extruded by mixing in an extruder screw. So, these two monomers can polymerize during such extrusion, and a fraction of polymer B chains bears initiating sites at the chain ends or along the chain backbones from which polymer A chains can grow. Basically, it is a kind of grafting reaction of one monomer onto the backbone of the main polymer during extrusion process, because that free radicals which is required to create a grafting site, that free radical is created by high shear mixing during extrusion, and this grafting reaction occurs. In the process, polymer A and a graft or block copolymer of A and B are formed simultaneously, leading to in situ polymerized and in situ compatibilized AB polymer blends. The feasibility of such a process was studied for nano blends of polypropylene with nylon 6. So, this reaction scheme shows that graft copolymer of polypropylene and polyamide nylon 6, PS6 means nylon 6, using an isocyanate bearing polypropylene. Here you see, this is a polymer bearing an isocyanate group, NCO group, and this is the caprolactone. This caprolactone can form nylon 6 by opening of this ring at this bond. That means, this bond breaks, and by breaking this bond it polymerizes, and you see this unit is linked to this polymer chain through nitrogen, leaving forming this amide link. So, we find that some acid acceptor can be used over there, and that continues to grow such nylon chain on the polypropylene backbone. So, if these steps 1, 2 and 3, if this is these are the various initiation steps that can continue to propagate in the propagation step to form a polymer chain on polypropylene. That means, polypropylene chain over which this nylon 6 is grafted on this polypropylene chain, and ultimately a blend of polypropylene with nylon 6 is available. This is a kind of thing, this some which is totally impossible situation. By graft copolymerization, one can make impossible situation to a possible situation. That means, polypropylene and nylon 6 are basically highly immiscible polymers, but through grafting reaction during extrusion process, such good compatible blend of polypropylene and nylon 6 were developed by this process, and here shows the detailed reaction scheme how this nylon 6 is reacted onto this polypropylene. This is a kind of reactive blending. In other way, we can say this is a kind of reactive blending. So, in the long run, if somebody wants to develop a property of polar polymer on the property of a non-polar polymer, this is the way how one can proceed. Again, if I take the example of this polyethylene, which is non-biodegradable, but this polyethylene can be made biodegradable provided some oxygenated or polar atoms or groups can be generated over polyethylene, and that polymer can be biodegradable. So, this gives an indication that the waste polyethylene films that can be collected from the garbage, cleaned, and such type of reaction of some say caprolactam or other reactive monomer can be mixed in an extruder. During mixing, that polymer forms some grafted chain over polyethylene, and that polymer can be used as a biodegradable polymer for biodegradable packaging film. So, one can take such a project of blending packaging waste packaging film with say caprolactam or other reactive monomer to form such biodegradable product. Thank you.